how do you use your mindset to move the needle forward when you've heard you have lobular cancer? How do you take that and use it for you, and not a way to be cavalier if you're struggling with cancer or you're conquering cancer, but I just want to present a different way of looking at when life throws you adversity. How do we take hope and activate it so it works for us?
Welcome back to Talking with Teri TV. I am your host, Teri Cardula, and you are in for a treat today. My guest in today's Business Spotlight has gratefully conquered breast cancer and has taken the power of active hope to a whole new level. For her, hope means action, and it lives inside a different mindset. Find out how active hope changed her life and her business, and how it can do the same for you. Welcome to the show, Betsy Clark.
Woohoo!
I'm so
Finally!
excited.
This is so good.
I know.
So good.
Okay, so for those that don't know you yet, but they will, and it's going to be a Shazam moment, I just know it.
Bingo.
But give us a little backstory of how you got to be here today. The Cliff Note version.
I was born in a very dark night.
Here we go, folks. Here we go.
You know what? You and I have known each other for a long time, and we've had a lot of fun together. We are of a similar ilk. We have the same kind of approach and energy to life. Watch out, world, here we are. And I have just had the most amazing journey over the last year. I am a transformation coach with emphasis on the mindset, always putting the emphasis on the right syllable there.
There we go.
So, how do you use your mindset to move the needle forward when you've heard you have lobular cancer? How do you take that and use it for you, and not a way to be cavalier if you're struggling with cancer or you're conquering cancer, but I just want to present a different way of looking at when life throws you adversity. How do we take hope and activate it so it works for us?
Yeah. And we're going to be focusing on your journey of conquering cancer, but this can be applied to anything in life. Whether you're in life or in business, relationships, like these tools and strategies that we're going to be talking about and unpacking today can be applied to everything. Parenting, relationships, everything.
Yeah.
So tell us about the act of hope, and what does that mean, and how has that really played a pivotal part in your journey?
Thank you. That's a great question. I heard about active hope probably 18 years ago. I had a coach named Kim George, and she talked about active hope, and I love hope. And I don't want to disparage hope, because I think it's a powerful thing that we need in our life, that things are going to turn out well. But hope in and of itself is a really bad business strategy. Right?
How so?
Well, because it's, if you're sitting on your couch twiddling your thumbs, waiting for your ship to come in, just hoping and a wishing, you're going to be on your couch 10 years from now twiddling. It's just
you're living in the hope land. Yeah.
Right. It's hope land, and it's just not helpful all the time. But there's something called active hope, and I use this little AAA battery because it's small but it's mighty. And so I have something that I've created called the AAA effect, and it's 3 A's. The first A is for awareness. How do we heighten our awareness? I mean, have you ever noticed we're blind to our blind spots?
Yes.
We're not aware.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to reflect, and we have to look at things and have a different perspective, heightening our awareness. So active hope, that's the first A is.
Well, and I want to pause for a second, because that awareness, we were talking, in the green room there, and we were talking about how some people will come to you and say words, and it just happened today. Like, literally can't make this stuff up. And you're like, but it was a perspective, and you're like, someone, the cosmetologist, what do we want to call her? The
makeup artist.
The makeup artist. She broke a mirror, And she's like, oh my gosh, this is the bad news. This is not good. And Betsy and I were both like, no. And we just really helped her shift the perspective, because that awareness of conditioned responses, conditioned things, because that's been passed on, and that's, oh my gosh, a broken mirror means bad, right?
Right.
And so we can change that, but it's also just that going back to that awareness.
Right. How do we reframe how we view things? And that's what I think heightened awareness does.
Yeah.
The other part of active hope is acceptance.
Yes.
Right? You become aware and you accept. I was diagnosed with breast cancer exactly a year ago, like on the 10th. So really close to being a year ago. And my life was looking really bleak a year ago. It was not looking good. They were saying things that weren't painting a hopeful picture.
Yeah.
And so by accepting that doesn't mean I have to like it, but I can go, I can get my shoulders out of my ears instead of just being tense. It's like, okay, I can now focus on what I can do. And that's the third A. That's the active. How do we activate hope? And so for me, activating hope is, it's hope that things will work out well, but I'm actively sending out more ships.
I love it.
And then I'm going down to the wharf and I'm looking on the horizon. And if I need to activate more ships, then I do that. And so to me, that's what active hope is. And there's a fourth A, and I didn't feel like 4A was as powerful as AAA, but it is a 4A into
This is like
the
the
adventure.
bonus A. The
Yeah,
bonus
it's a
A.
bonus A, right? And so the A is anticipation. You know, something's coming. I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. So it's that anticipation. That's the thing that greases the wheel of the AAA effect. That's what gets active hope going in a cycle and a circle that's continual, and it compels us to go for it. We draft behind active hope.
Yes.
And so when you have anticipation, it moves you from, you know, that awareness to the acceptance to the action, and then it takes you right back up. And I'm going, man, that's something I can do for the rest of my life, whether I have cancer, if I'm really in the midst of that journey, which some of us are and some of us are not. And if I were to add an extra A, it would be to advocate for yourself. That's my biggest lesson in this whole cancer journey is I didn't wait for someone to confirm you have cancer. I was in touch with my body enough to go, I'm experiencing something, a symptom that is not on the internet. Dr. Google is not the best doctor. And so we really have to advocate for ourselves, because early detection of anything can really change the trajectory of our life. And so I really want women and men to hear this. Trust your gut and advocate for yourself. So maybe it's 5A.
Well, and I think that goes back to the awareness, right? Is that when we're starting to, because I think women in general, when we see something that's not, you know, going right, whether it's in our life or in our business or in our body, we kind of dismiss it like, oh yeah, and we don't pay attention to it, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. But when we're having that gut experience and we have that awareness, it's like something's off. Again, be active in figuring that piece out. What does this look like?
And advocating for yourself doesn't mean you're a jerk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you're a drama mama.
Yeah.
It means I'm aware, I accept, I will act, and I will anticipate the best, because that is the definition of hope.
Yeah. And I think it's also important when you go back to advocating, just because one person said one thing doesn't mean that we have to be hunk on that ship and going back to that perspective. It's like, okay, yep. Years and years ago, I had a cancer scare, and I didn't even want to say it because I'm like, I know too much about my body. I can heal this. Like, I know I can heal this. Like, you know, and so I was like, boop, I went over here and and, you know, and then I was like, okay, let's figure this out. And, you know, not get stuck into this, like, creating, what do I want to say? Just creating the story and creating all this other thing, the doom and gloom, the cycle of the doom and gloom, right? Instead of going back into a place of hope, okay, let's be resourceful, because it opens up so much more possibilities when we're more resourceful.
It's expansive.
Yeah, it's very expansive.
And doom and gloom is expensive.
True. I love that. Doom and gloom is expensive. So I love this. So really quickly, just let's review those 4 plus the bonus plus the bonus. And by the time we leave here, there's gonna be a couple more bonuses. So
True.
Again, really quickly, what were those pieces?
Okay, so first is awareness, how to heighten your awareness and to pay attention and to be curious, to explore what could this mean, right? And I think it's having wise counsel. Who are you hanging out with? Who is going to reflect back to you? Yeah, you know what? That's one perspective. So it's that heightened awareness. That's the first A. The other one is acceptance. I may not like it. I don't like the term, it is what it is. Like that makes the hair go up on the back of my neck. It is what I make it.
Yeah.
So am I going to fight this and not in a healthy way, or am I going to accept it and then look at options that are really going to help me move forward and heal? Because that's the intention, isn't it? And then the last one is action, and anticipation is what keeps that cycle going in a way that is helpful.
I love it. What are some of the others, like specific strategies or practices that you have adopted to really transform your mindset, really moving from the passive to the active hope?
So what I love is I have asked clients as I'm interviewing them to see if we're a good fit is, you know, if you knew you had 3 to 5 years to live, how would you live your life? And I have been very intentional of how I proceed in life. But I gotta tell you, when you hear lobular cancer and you're exposed in an ultrasound with all the goop and you're feeling very, very vulnerable, suddenly that question takes on a whole different meaning. And so on the way home, I really had to say, how do I want, and it was not looking good. They were not giving me a lot of hope in the beginning. And we're going to have to do this test, we're going to have to do that test, it could be this, it could be that. I mean, like, this is all preliminary. Why are you scaring me like this? I want to stay open to possibilities. And so I realized my intention is to live a regret-free life. And so I do not recommend you do this. One of the first things I did was I went out and got a German Shepherd puppy. What was I thinking? You know, but what helped me was, you know, have you ever tried to potty train or house train a dog and stay in bed all day? It just doesn't work. And so I created things that kept me active. I got a puppy that needed to be trained, that needed to be walked, and really shifted it. I mean, how can you be morose when you have this little fluff ball who's looking at you with these soulful brown eyes? We call her Remy, but her name is Remedy. And I realized she was my remedy. I've always wanted a German Shepherd. And if I only have 2 to 3 years to live, darn it, I'm going to get one. Not my smartest move. Don't emulate that.
But the golden gift out of this was that it gave you hope. I mean, it increased your hope. It created this little puppy like staring at you like, let's go play, let's go play, let's go play, right? And
I love you, I love you, I love you.
I love you, I love you, I love you, let's go play, right? And it's from a vibrational standpoint, oh my gosh, like whoop, and with the mirror neurons that's going on, like here we are, like the dog is activating you, you're activating the dog. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, #brilliance on Betsy Clark.
Well, but there's
an accidental brilliant moment.
Well, you know what? And I realized if I died, I wanted my husband to have that shared 1 or 2 year project. We'd always wanted one. Why not do it? Because in 10 years, I'm not going to have the energy for a puppy. I barely do right now, but that's beside the point. But there was another thing that I did, Teri, that I think is really important, that when we're facing adversity, we think, well, I've just got to change so much. But don't forget who you are, because I've always been an athlete. I went to college on an athletic scholarship, and when I found out that something might be amiss, I plugged into Pilates, and I went 4 and 5 times a week, and I figured, if I have to have a mastectomy, which I ended up having, I want to be as strong and as fit. I want to be as fit as I can be until I take my last breath. And that, to me, was a strategy of remembering who I've been and how I want to take that and amplify that going forward. I didn't want to be a cancer girl, and I didn't want to lose myself in it. So how do I practice active hope to get me the results that I need and I'm looking for?
I love it. That's brilliant. We are going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back with Betsy Clark with more juicy information. We'll be right back. Want more support in creating your success story? My products can help. Check them out. First, I have my book, Be the Magic of You, Tools to Transform Your Life. And in it, I have over 70 different tools to help reprogram your brain. Next, I have my daily intentions planners. They help you create without forcing it. They combine brain science and universal laws. In addition to my book and planners, I also have 2 card decks you're sure to love, designed to support you to reconnect with your purpose, power, and potency. I also offer 2 special packages. The first is a success package. In it, you'll have my book and a year's supply of planners to help you bundle and save. Next is my favorite, the empowerment package. You can supercharge your life and business by getting all the products at one low price. But wait, there's more. I also offer a yearly subscription called the 7-Figure Business Box. Each quarter, you'll receive a physical box mailed to your home, a live 2-hour intensive training, an hour-long fireside chat with an expert in the industry, a guidebook packed with even more resources. To order anything you see here, just go to my website, talkingwithteri.com. All right, we are back with Betsy Clark, and we're so excited to have you on the show today. And, you know, we have a shared mutual friend who has always called you her favorite word nerd. How has that applied to your journey through cancer?
I love being known as a word nerd because words matter. The things we say to ourselves, about ourselves, forms our reality.
Yeah.
And we're so unaware of that. How many times have you heard, I'm battling cancer?
Mm-hmm. All the time. All the time.
Let's erase that from our vernacular, because here's the deal. Battling cancer sounds so dramatic. And I gotta tell you, if you're in the midst of a cancer journey, let's take some of that drama out and give the person the space and the grace they need to heal, instead of like, I'm battling cancer. I'm conquering cancer. That was how I went through it. And I'm going to be in a breast cancer awareness run next weekend. And it's about, you know, you're a cancer survivor. Well, the truth is, yes, I am a survivor, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And so I'm not trying to demean that or dismiss that, but I'm thriving.
Yeah.
In the midst of my journey right now. And so doctors aren't going to say, Betsy, you're cancer free. They just can't do that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm in remission and I'm thriving.
Yeah.
And that to me is so much bigger than battling and surviving. And I know surviving is important. I'm glad I'm surviving.
Yeah.
But if I can put it in the context of thriving,
and I'll put the positive spin on it. Yes.
Right. So I think words matter. So people would ask me, you know, how are you doing? And when you've been told a good friend has cancer, it's kind of wonky. You don't know, you don't want to say the wrong thing. So what you do is you just don't say anything, or you really make it even more awkward. We all need to breathe. We all know this is awkward. This is not what we choose. And here we are. Here we are. So I would ask people to not ask, how are you doing? Because it was like my mood could change in a nanosecond.
Yeah.
And I allowed myself to have a sour hour, but I really tried to take command of my mind and moderate my emotions. And so I said, would you ask me, when you see me, would you ask, how's your day going? Because I can talk about my day and it doesn't feel so cancer focused.
Yeah.
Like, how's your day? That feels to me so much more about potential and expansive than how are you doing?
Yeah.
And you know, people didn't do it that way, but that's like what I hear. So the words, if you know someone who is struggling with adversity or a disease or something like that, you know, it's really great. How how can I support you in this? What do you want me to say or not say? Because you know, you might think of boundaries as being boundaries and, you know, guardrails for your relationships, and then someone else might think, no, those are rules.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between boundaries and rules. So the words we use changes our perspective. So again, it goes back to everything we've talked about, awareness.
Yeah.
What are you saying to yourself? And are those words that you can live and die with?
Absolutely, and when we have that perspective change, it's a game changer. You know, I think of Chris Carr. I mean, she was probably the most well-known person that's living with cancer, right?
Love
Talk about
her.
Acceptance and awareness, and she's implementing all of those tools to accept this is what's in my body, and I don't know, I think she's into like 15 years, 17 years, something.
And her prognosis was like,
right?
Yeah.
And again, it's just our bodies, our brains, I mean, we are such powerful, potent beings. Right. And what are we fueling every time when we're speaking words into that, speaking life into, where are we focusing that energy and focus on, right?
Right.
It's powerful.
And I think that's where grace comes into this as well, is having grace with each other in our journeys, because I don't want to come off as being Pollyanna and saying, you know, I fixed myself. There was so much that went on behind my healing and my being, I mean, it looked really drastically dreary a year ago, and here I am. I'm grateful. And I don't want to have anybody else feel like I'm putting them down because they use the word surviving and they use the word battling. For them, it may be a battle. I just want to throw out a different perspective, and possibly, if this fits for you, change the words you use.
No, it's powerful. It's really powerful. When we do muscle testing, whenever positive words will always make you stronger and give you more of a wow factor, versus negative words or, you know, limiting words will always make the body go weak. And so if we have that awareness to that, we can choose something different. And it's a choice, right? It's absolutely a choice. And I like how you say there's a sour hour, right? I gave my permission in that hour. You can, you know, do as you please. You could have a pity party if you wanted to, but it's for a short amount of time. And now it's like, okay, I'm gonna now go create something new. Where am I gonna refocus my attention and energy to?
Well, and not having it restricted. You know, if you're on a restrictive diet, you want all the things you're not supposed to eat. Well, if I can't be real in the midst of my journey, that's all I want to do. And it doesn't always express itself well. So I gave myself permission and grace if I needed in that day. And I had such a great support team. I didn't really go there, but I always knew I could.
So how is this, I mean, looking forward, how do you incorporate these lessons of active hope into your daily life, and like what message do you have for everyone else here?
I think it is definitely your words. I think that's a big thing. Give yourself grace in those moments when you aren't at your best. What's really fun is I've been a Gallup strengths coach for years, leading with what's right with you, leading with positive intent instead of going, what's wrong with me? You know, you don't need to be fixed. I don't need to be fixed. The only thing that needs to be fixed are stray cats and dogs. I mean, seriously. And so I love to lead with positive intent. And in the last several months, my business has just blossomed because of what I've just gone through. I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody. And I've been able to see some real opportunities in areas of growth. I'm not who I was a year ago. And I now am working on getting certified in positive intelligence and helping people stop being run by the inner critic. And the inner critic just runs the show. And because we're blind to our blind spots, as we were talking about earlier, we don't question our answers. We believe everything we think. And taking clients from working with what's right with them, understanding that there is an operating system that's going on in the background that is not helpful. But back in the day, those critics were there to help us survive. There's that word again. I want to help people thrive and help them move into the area of the brain through neuroplasticity and neural pathways, all the stuff that you and I both love, And how do they get into the sage perspective, which is where you have empathy, you're willing to explore, you're willing to navigate and activate all those things that are juicy and right with life, so that we move from that doom and gloom to possibility and being expansive. And so I'm really excited about being able to pair strengths and that positive approach, that sage perspective, so that when the stuff of life hits, we're equipped. And we're not thrown off course. And so I really feel like that's been the real gift I've received, because what I've practiced has been my work for the last 15, 20 years. And it works. I'm sitting here more on fire, more grateful, more in love, because of the people that have gone before me and have taught me. And they've shown me. And to me, that's the beauty of active hope. This is the fruit of active hope. I'm grateful.
I love it. What a powerful way to end. Oh my goodness, so juicy. So if you are ready and willing and able and want to connect with Betsy Clark, where can people connect with you at?
Well, I did write a book in the midst of...
Well, I was going to pull that out, and I was just waiting for the surprise element. Is it now? It's now.
It is now.
The surprise element. Here it is. Oh my gosh, what's coming out of my chair now? Oh, look at this. Now, I already went through and just took out some of my own nuggets. Look at this. I mean, I love, this is my little strategy of nuggets here. But there's such great, juicy nuggets in here. And if you know Betsy, she is just full of life and vitality and juiciness. And so this is her Voices of Hope, and her information is in there. So let's tell people where they can get this and where they can find you.
You can get that book on Amazon, and we'll leave the link on the show notes as well. But what I love about that is it gives you more in depth about what active hope is and the strategy and what hope really can mean for you. I also have a website where they can go, which is coach2strengths.com. But it's coach, the number 2, and then strengths, make it plural, not singular. But there's a lot of information they can get there. I have grace cards of so many different things. But I would love to invite people, if they're looking for a community of like-minded women. I have a Facebook group called Circle of Trust. And it's no pitching, it's no selling, it's just how do we embrace the juiciness of life, and how do we go forward in a way that's empowering, and we can bring as many women as we can, so they can draft behind us, because we're all at different places in life and we need each other. We were never designed to do this alone. And so I'm just so grateful that you've invited me here, and that we can spread this idea of active hope and the power of neuroplasticity. And really, we're not done. We can be growing until our last breath. And that's my hope for each one of your listeners.
Love it. I love it. Thank you for just being a brilliant badass in life.
Thank you. I love that.
As always, be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Massive love, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.